A major shake-up tonight in the Central African Republic as the president struggles to hold on to power.
Francois Bozize has fired his defense minister and army chief as rebels seem poised to move on the capital. We have team coverage of the crisis, starting with VOA's Anne Look on the ground in the CAR. She joins us now by phone, and she's in Bangui. Hi, Anne, and welcome to In Focus.
Hi.
So let's start off with the firing of the defense and army chiefs. Why, and what is the implication of this?
Well, the president announced that he is taking on the post of defense minister himself. He fired his son, who's been the acting defense minister, and he also fired the chief of the army.
Okay, and something has happened to your phone. We have a very bad line right now, so I'm not sure if our audience heard what you said. I'm just going to move on to the next question, which has to do with this demand by the rebels that Mr. Bozize step down. Well, it looks like we've lost Anne, so hopefully we'll get her back shortly.
Now, staying still in the Central African Republic, the U.S. is keeping a close eye on the situation there. Even as Secretary of State Hillary Clinton recovers from a blood clot in the head. Joining me is VOA State Department correspondent Scott Stearns. Welcome, Scott.
Good morning, Vincent.
Good morning. And now, beginning with the rebellion in the CAR, we know that 50 U.S. troops were deployed to Chad, ready to help evacuate U.S. citizens from Bangui. Did this mission take place?
Yes, those troops went to N'Djamena. They assisted in the evacuation of diplomatic personnel from Bangui, and it's our understanding that that mission has wrapped up and that those troops are no longer in Chad.
Yeah, and another operation that has been going on there is that there are 100 U.S. special operation troops that have been helping in the search for the rebel commander, Joseph Kony. How has that operation been impacted by this rebellion in CAR?
State Department officials say that the hunt for members of the Lord's Resistance Army in the Central African Republic has not been affected by this latest instability. As you know, that operation itself is based out of Uganda, though most of the activity has been in Central African Republic. That has continued independent of the withdrawal of diplomatic personnel.
Now let's turn to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. We mentioned briefly that she has been released from hospital. Tell us, what else do you know as of right now?
It's true. She was discharged last night from New York Presbyterian Columbia Hospital after spending 3 nights there after doctors discovered a blood clot behind her right ear. They're using a blood-thinning anticoagulants to try to remove that tumor, though they say that it did not result in a stroke or any sort of neurological damage. So Secretary Clinton was discharged. Will spend the rest of this week at her home in New York, and according to a senior advisor, is eager to return here to the State Department, most likely on Monday.
But we know that hard days at the State Department are actually getting fewer and fewer. What is likely to be her focus in the remainder of our tenure there?
If you look at the work that she's done from hospital before she was discharged, it's clear that the top priority will be the one that has really consumed much of 2012 for her, and that's Syria. She had a call with Lakhdar Brahimi, the United Nations Arab League Special Envoy for Syria, to talk about his most recent visit to Damascus. She also spoke with the Qatari foreign minister about the situation in Syria. Yes, as you say, her days here are drawing to a close. President Obama has made clear that he intends to nominate Massachusetts Senator John Kerry to be the next Secretary of State as a new Senate takes office today here in D.C. We'll simply have to see what the schedule for that Kerry nomination is, and the handover, which I imagine will be a relatively seamless one between Secretary Clinton and would-be Secretary Kerry.
Well, thanks a lot, Scott, for joining us today, and we will be hopefully touching base with you in the coming days to see how things are going on over there.
Sure.
Now that's Scott Stearns, our State Department correspondent, talking to us there live.
Well, now we turn back to Bangui, where our West Africa correspondent Anne Look is standing by. And we had started asking her earlier when the line went bad about President Bozize's decision to fire his defense and army chief. And if you could please restate what you know.
Yeah, President Bozize, he announced that he's firing his son, who's serving as the acting defense minister, as well as Guillaume Lapo, the army chief of staff. Now, he said that he will be taking on these roles himself, or the role of defense minister himself. He didn't give an exact reason, but a few days ago in an address to the nation, he did express what he said was regret at the indiscipline of the army and their recent failures in the north against the rebel coalition that has now, come within 180 kilometers of the capital.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving on to some of the other border issues, a spokesperson for one of the rebel groups says that the peace deal is not possible without Mr. Bozize's unconditional exit. Now, we know that Mr. Bozize has really insisted that he's not leaving office. Does this likely jeopardize any peace talks? And is Mr. Bozize under any pressure, say even from the negotiators or the mediators, to bow to the demands of the rebels?
It still looks like talks are going to move forward in Libreville next week. I imagine both sides seem to be digging in their heels, but I imagine it's also a bit of strong talk ahead of the negotiations. On a regional level, it's difficult to. Regional leaders are going to be mediating, but not negotiating themselves. And, it's hard to say what they think about Mr. Bozize, whether he should stay or go. But you can say that they have sent a regional peacekeeping force to help protect the capital and to protect the government as it is right now. So, at least in the short term, they seem invested in keeping Mr. Bozize in place. Now, I talked to the spokesman from the political coalition that's backing the president, and this spokesman, Thierry Gonda, is one of the president's chief negotiators and will be in Libreville. And he explained to me that the president is ready to negotiate on many of the rebels' demands, specifically the disarmament program, reform of the military, but that this question of Mr. Bozize stepping down is not on the table. It's not an option.
And you've been in Bangui several days now. Just give us an update about what the residents are feeling and what their expectation is of any peace deal that is negotiated.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of hope in the last day or so. Things have kind of calmed down. In the field, it's been a bit of status quo for the past few days. There haven't been any great troop movements in either direction. And then you also have the regional troops who have, really deployed heavily in the past day or so, 2 days or so, up to Damara to really hold that line between the rebels and the government. So there seems to be some hope. And then we've also had these statements from the rebels announcing that they once again want to go to talks. So there is hope that these talks are going to resolve things. At the same time, there's still just a bit of tension because they have obviously been through rebellions before. They've seen peace accords fall through before. So a lot of people tell me that it really isn't just the talks. It depends what's going to happen after, whether there's follow-through.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. That's VOA's Anne Look on assignment in Bangui in the CAR.